Welcome to Strong Conversations, hosted by Simpson Strongtie, where we bring partners, colleagues, innovators, and leaders together for insightful conversations. We dive into the subjects and issues that we all face, forging stronger connections and relationships along the way. In our Building the Brand series, we talk to leaders and entrepreneurs in the building industry about what it takes to start a venture or business and build it into a brand. We talk about taking a chance on yourself and the determination and resilience that it takes to stay the course. Our guests share with us what it means to be a heart-led leader and the importance of not just building the brand, but building a culture that your employees can thrive in. Working with a family can present its own unique benefits and challenges. Travis and Rob Kerrick are a father and son who both work for United Production Framing. Travis originally had other aspirations, but quickly realized that construction was where he belonged. Travis and Rob talked to us about how it is to spend almost all their time with each other and how they navigate a family business.
Welcome back to another episode of Strong Conversations. My name is Sam Marcoux, and this is the Building the Brand series. And we have a little bit of a family affair here, ladies and gentlemen. We have Rob and Travis Kerrick. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Doing good? Yep. You guys awake?
We're there. We're getting there, yeah.
You guys just came back from the Baja 1000, right?
Yes. Yep.
So how was that?
It was fun. It was a good time, Baja's a different animal, So I do race trophy trucks down there.
Yeah.
And so we were down there for 10 days and did really good. We finished. So it was an accomplishment.
It's kind of like a marathon, right? Running a marathon's like, did you finish first? No, but I finished. And that's like the top 1% of all racers who are running on. But yeah, just finishing is quite the accomplishment. Yeah, awesome. How long have you guys been into racing?
I've been in it since 1975. I used to race motorcycles when I was growing up. And then that got me into off-road racing. And as a matter of fact, the night that I graduated high school, my truck was loaded up with tires and fuel. And I drove straight from graduation to the Baja 500.
No kidding.
And pitted for a guy named Dale Everts at the time. And then I've been into it ever since, and then dragging him down there. His birthday is June 5th, and that's every year at the Baja 500 at that time.
Okay.
So he spent all of his birthdays down in Baja. Yep. His mom didn't like that, but we did. So he's been involved in Baja, or off-road racing since he was a child.
Yep.
And motorcycle racing. So.
Well, very cool. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that, but I guess I should probably give you guys your proper introduction. So, this is Rob and Travis Kerrick, father-son duo here, working for UPF, United Production Framing, and we're here to talk to you guys because you guys have been so influential in the framing of a lot of just houses and units in Southern California in particular. It's you guys have had some really unique things happen in your career, and the way you guys not only are you family, but your coworkers, your colleagues. And the bond that you guys have is something we're going to explore on this conversation here today. So we're going to start with Rob. Rob, when did you get started in the construction industry? Did you always know you wanted to be in it, or was it something you fell into, or how did that happen for you?
Actually, my father owned his own construction company.
Okay.
And got from time I was 9 years old, he would take me on during the summers, and I'd work for him. And then when I was in high school, my mom and father got divorced when I was 13. And when I was in high school, I started working for Western Lumber down in San Diego. And I was a load builder, so I would build loads for framers that would come in and pick up materials and stuff like that. I drove a forklift, built the loads, and then I would be the ones that would load them into their trucks or trailers. Well, I met a guy named Neil Campbell of Tone Builders, and he owned Tone Builders, but at the time he didn't. And he was building custom homes and asked me, hey, you want a job? You want a real job? So I started in the industry very little. I mean, at a very young age.
How old were you when that happened? You were 13 at the lumberyard?
Well, no, I was 15 when I started working for the lumberyard.
Okay.
So I was probably 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
And started working for him. And that's where I started my career with him, building custom homes all over San Diego.
Wow.
And great guy, very, very knowledgeable, taught me a lot.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went into production framing and I've been doing it ever since.
And doing them well. I mean, I know in talking to Travis, your start, you were not planning on going into the construction industry originally, right?
No, definitely not.
What were you going to do?
Yeah, so kind of didn't want to follow footsteps, of my dad. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a kinesiologist. I want to go work for sports teams. I want to be physical therapist.
Yeah.
Some type of doctor degree. So I started doing that route. Then I got kind of burnt out quick in college. So
Yeah.
I said, all right, well, now what's next? And so he gave me a call and said, hey, I need some help. Would you be interested in doing it? And I was, kind of started a family, just got married. I said, yeah, I want a Monday through Friday job. So I started working and doing estimating.
And was it at that time, it was kind of like, all right, I'll do this for now, and then I'll get back to doing or finding my way, and then ultimately fell in love with it?
Yeah, ultimately, I kind of jumped into it, said, all right, I'll do it, and I started doing a little bit more of this, kind of fun.
Yeah.
Going to all events, networking, meeting different people, all different trades. Hey, I kind of like this.
Yeah.
So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to career path change. Started going to school for construction management. And then I did that full time. Just had a daughter, and I was going to school full time, working full time. It was pretty challenging.
Where'd you go to school?
Indiana State University.
Indiana State University.
Yeah, so everything was online.
Okay.
Yep.
I'd say that's a little bit farther away from Southern California.
A little bit, yeah.
Have you guys always worked together since you came into the industry? Have you guys always worked for the same company?
No, we haven't. No, we actually worked together for 2, 3 years. Yeah, previously, and then when that company was dissolved and went back to Vegas, we kind of went our separate paths, and that's when I went to United Production Framing.
Yeah. So what do you guys do for UPF now? What are you guys' official titles?
So I'm the estimating sales manager. So I do all the bids, all the estimating goes through me and my team.
Rob?
And I'm operations manager for the multifamily division.
Okay.
So I do nothing but the multifamily, just from start to finish throughout the entire job.
It's fascinating because, we have some colleagues, and Travis, you and I had met before, actually at a trade show earlier this year. Rob, it's the first time you and I are meeting in person, but in talking to mutual friends and colleagues, they remark how close you guys are as a family unit, right? Father and son working together. We were talking off air. If I'm around my sisters for more than maybe 12 hours, like we're filing to adopt a new family. Like we need to be away from each other. Like we love each other, but from a distance, right?
Right.
You guys not only obviously raising him and grew up with him, but you're working together, obviously maybe different departments, but that is a unique set of challenge. Or is it a challenge for you guys to work together? Because it sounds like you guys are just two peas in a pod.
I can speak for that. Growing up, I coached his Little League team, so we've always been close doing things together.
Yeah.
Little League, racing motorcycles, whatever. We've always been together doing everything. And then when he went into high school, he was in water polo and swim. And I was the aquatics, what was I? The manager?
You're like equipment manager.
Equipment manager or something throughout that. So I was very close with him, and not only with the boys team, but the girls team. We were all together.
Yeah.
The kids were always at our house. They all hung out at our house. We all went out to dinner all the time. So they pretty much hung out at our house all the time. It's all his friends were my friends were his friends. And that's just the way it's been since we grew up.
Wow.
And then since he grew up, and then when he was working for me the first time, I started introducing him to people. I know a lot of people as a business. I've been in a long time.
Sure.
So he started getting introduced to them. And so it's funny the way things have evolved where they were all my best friends and now they're all his best friends, So it's good. And we were talking about it offline. We've never had a disagreement about anything. I mean, we discuss things, we figure it out. I go to him for some knowledge because now he's in the office and I'm in the field. So I need to check with him for some certain things.
Yeah.
But no, we've always just worked good together, never had any disagreements. And and I don't know why. I really don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, we look at things differently, right? I'm kind of the new age, more technology driven, and I see things differently than he does because he's more old school and sees things. No, that's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the way it is now.
Right.
We've got that doesn't work all the time. We got to change things up a little bit.
But it's a conversation versus.
But it's a conversation, yeah,
argument or
and it's respect for both ways. We go back and forth. So I mean, working at the previous company when I first started doing this, which was kind of nice. We literally drove to work every day together.
Wow.
He'd pick me up or I'd pick him up and we'd drive into work. So we have an hour drive talking about work before we even got to work. And then we'd be at work for 8, 10, 12 hours, hour back, still talking about work. We just never stopped talking about work.
Do you turn it off at all? Like at night, if you guys are around each other, is it still work talk or is it?
Sometimes we catch ourselves talking about work and then our wives jump in and say, okay, enough about work. Let's talk about, we don't need to talk about work.
Yeah.
We've kind of worked it out where we don't try not to talk about it, but we end up talking about it.
Yeah, we still do.
got to be inevitable, right?
It's inevitable.
So you guys would argue, like, what about lunch? Like, it's time for lunch. Do you guys argue about where to eat or anything? I'm trying to find some sort of common ground with you guys because I argue with my family all the time. But you guys are just
We like the same food.
wow.
Yeah, we like to see this. So, we don't work hand in hand every day together. It's not now. Not now. We used to. Back on the previous company, like I said, we were with each other like 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
For 3 years we were together doing everything together. So I learned so much knowledge from him just on those drives that other people don't get. Right? When you're bringing somebody in to start, an estimating position, you get 8 hours with them a day.
Yeah.
You don't get 15 hours a day with somebody. So I was getting twice the amount of knowledge every day.
That's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah.
That's a really great way of looking at it. I mean, that learning curve just spiked.
It just spiked for me. So so that helped me advance my career at United Project Framing as well.
So talking about this then, because again, just kind of doing research with you guys, it appears to me that a lot of your social network, your friends, people maybe outside of work, quote unquote, are also people that you work with or work for. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you guys spend not only a lot of time with each other as family, but the entire industry has become your network,
Right.
in terms of friends.
Our family. They're our family. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, how crucial is that, do you think, to your guys' success overall? I mean, is that something?
Huge.
Yeah. Why is that?
Just the relationships with everybody. We go to a trade show. We know everybody there. Other framers, other builders, whether we're working for them or not, or they're our competition, we're all one big family. We all talk and joke around, and just it's a good time. And we all talk about shop talk, I guess you'd say. But it's just great. We have a great relationship. And in other industries, like in Vegas, it's not like that. You really can't be friends with another framer, I've learned.
Yeah.
Because I've worked for a couple of companies that are based in Vegas. You go over there and they go, what do you mean you're talking to another framer? I go, well, they're my friends. Of course I'm going to talk to them. But over there, it's completely different. But over here in Orange, Southern California, we all talk to each other. We talk business about each other, about different. It's completely different, and it's huge having that relationship with everybody and the suppliers as well. Not only builders but suppliers.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Well, and I see it with my colleagues down in Southern California. You can see how close they are with one another. Like I'm from Northern California and have been in the industry probably longer than I care to admit at this point. And I have friends in the industry, but there is a little bit of, end of the day, I'm going home and I have my friends and my family and my other life, so to speak. And I talk to our buddies down here and it's like, oh no, we're hanging out this weekend. We're going on the lake. We're doing this. And I'm like, that's fascinating and really cool to just see how tight knit the Southern California construction industry is. I mean, you guys really do have that, camaraderie with everyone. Like you said, regardless of if they're on your team or quote unquote competitor.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've been doing that for, many years. I'll call somebody up, been in this industry. I learned kind of, before I was in the industry, right? I already knew who they were and what they did.
Yeah.
Now I'm in the industry and it's like, all right, well, now I'm using you as a work reference and I can kind of relationship. I can understand what you're doing now. Before I was just like, oh, hey, you want to go hang out at the lake?
Yeah.
So now it's kind of that both. And I built that friendship with a lot of, other people here.
You find, for lack of a better term, deals or business gets done after hours a lot of times because of just how much you guys are working with other people. Like, hey, we have a project coming up. We want you guys to bid it, or you guys are going to get this project. Does that kind of happen? I have found that, if you go to a sales meeting or you go to some sort of meeting, 9 to 5, the meetings are what they are, but then you go out and have dinner and hang out afterwards. And that's when you really get into the kind of the...
I think we try not to.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, after hours, but they're available.
Yeah.
If we really need to, if we have something that can't last or you can't wait till the morning, we have no problem with picking the phone up and they have no problems answering us. So that helps tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah. In our field. We are, and like you were saying, family. When we have like Thanksgivings or birthday parties and stuff, we invite the subcontractors and stuff. You guys are more than welcome to come over. Other framers, they're all just, we hang out.
That.
He's got a pool at his house and we have pool parties all summer.
Right on.
So it's really good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Invited.
So Rob, I do have a question for you because I was again talking to some people last night at dinner, and they said, "Hey, did you know that Rob was the first person or one of the first people to actually install a Simpson strong tie strong wall, a prefabricated shear wall?"
That's correct.
And we have mutual friends, so you could tell. As you would know, I'm a little skeptical if they're setting me up or not. But in talking to you off air, you confirm that that's true. Like back in the late 90s when we, meaning Simpson Strong Tie, launched that product, you were one of the very first, if not the first, to actually install that original product.
Correct. Yes.
That's crazy. So what was that process like?
Well, I was working as a project manager for a company called H&R Framing in San Diego, and we were one of the largest framers, in Southern California. And Simpson approached us with a new product that they wanted to bring on board called the Simpson Strong Wall. And I kind of got involved in that, and they kind of pointed me to help them out with whatever they need. So I started bringing them to value engineering meetings, start learning the product. And in turn, once they got the product dialed in and we're trying to present it to builders and get it into the industry, we were doing some models down in Chula Vista, and I said, they said, we're going to give you the panels to try. And in turn, I said, okay, well, I want my company with our shirts, to be on the cover of your next Simpson catalog, us installing those walls. And so they did. And then we started using those walls from then on. And we were one of the first framers that started using those walls, and everybody's coming to us and asking us, well, how are they? They're simple. They're simple. You just put a wall up, bolt it down. So, that was
I got to find that original marketing piece.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it too. And hopefully you put that on your IMDb as, cover model for a catalog. I mean, there's probably, something you could put on there beyond the framing and everything you guys are doing. So I'm curious, have you guys done the math? How many years combined have you guys been in this industry?
Oh, geez.
It's got to be, how long have you been?
I've been in it since 2011, 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're looking at about
12 years, 12, 13 years.
And then you said you started in 1975. So I should be able to do the math in sales 5 and 0. So I believe that's right around 50 years. So just shy of 50 years.
Yep.
So between the two of you, you're looking at over 60 years of experience, close to 70 years of experience.
Correct.
Have you looked back in that time? Is there something that stands out? Like what's the thing, maybe individually or collectively, if you look at your career, not that it's over, but you looked at it and said, I'm most proud of this or that. Is there something that stands out as I put you on the spot with that question? You got to go through the mental exercise here.
I've built so many different things. I built custom houses for, movie stars and pro athletes that are, you drive by that house, you look up on a hill and you go, I built that house.
Yeah.
And then you can remember every part of building that house when you're freezing cold or, it rained. You remember every little item about when you built that house. And I drive by, these kids have grown up, be driving by, I built that. I was
just going to say that. It's funny, growing up, it's like, he'd always drive by, hey, I built that community. Oh, I built that house. I'm like, great, cool. I built that. Yeah, I know. And then now I find myself doing it the next day. I'm like, oh, hey, I built that. We built that community. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing it.
But I mean, that's some family. I mean, that's a sense of pride. I do that on the supply side. I'm like, I know my product is in that building right there. And I was walking that project, right? So what do you guys think, maybe a better question based on that, estimate for me as much as you can, how many homes or units have you guys built in your career? I mean, how many people have you built homes for? I mean, it's got to be thousands upon thousands at this point, right?
Oh, thousands that we've had indirect or direct, contact with. I mean, for me, not much directly. I'm mostly indirect, right? And sales and estimating and bidding and getting awarded projects and stuff. And I mean, our company does 4,000 to 5,000 houses a year.
Wow.
And so 4,000 to 5,000 houses a year. And I've been in trade for 14, 15 years. That's a lot of houses or, indirectly I've had to handle it.
Absolutely.
And I'm over 100,000 easily.
Yeah. You guys are into 6 figures of how many people, like how many, just think about, have you met the families? Have you ever met anybody that you're like, oh, you're living in a house that I built outside of celebrities?
Sure. All the time.
Yeah. You just I would hang outside, and when they came out in the morning, like casually, like, oh, hey, what's up? I built this house. You're welcome.
Well, it's when I'll walk through a house. I'll be with somebody that I know, and I go, yeah, and I start telling bits and pieces about their house, and hey, by the way, there's a man door. You can tear out the drywall right there, and you could put a door in.
Really? And they have no idea.
They have no idea. Because I see it as a skeleton all the time. I don't see it. They don't see it like that. It's covered in drywall.
Yeah.
So there's little things, bits and pieces I tell them about the house and how it was built and whether it was a good developer or not. I'd let them know. And most of them are pretty good. They're all decent.
It's funny. I've seen all in social media now. It's like I see all my friends that I grew up with in high school. They're buying houses in the past 5-10 years, and I'm like, oh, I know who built that.
Yeah.
Oh, I built that one.
I built that.
Oh, we built that one, And so it's kind of funny when we go out there and say, oh, yeah, I've built your house before,
That's incredible. That's got to be a cool feeling, right? I mean, just that sense of pride of, building something that is lasting, right? It's tangible. It's something that somebody's using as their dwelling. That's incredible to me. Let me ask you this, because you guys are unique again in that how you work together, those family ties, your extended family, which is the community here in Southern California when it comes to construction and building. If you could change something about the journey, not the destination, so everything's the same as of today, but if you could change something along the way, would you change anything? And what would that be, if so?
For me, I wouldn't change a thing. Everything that I did, even if it was a right or wrong thing, I learned from it.
Right.
And so that was part of my journey. And so I wouldn't really change that because that's who made me who I was now.
Yeah.
Or who I am now. So I wouldn't change anything about the journey, actually.
Okay. Rob, how about you?
It's a hard question, but I when I got out of high school, I was still interested in, even though I was in construction framing, that's all I've been doing is framing. I wanted to become an architect. I wanted to become an architect.
Okay.
I was always involved in drawing. I draw my own plans all the time. At the I still do. But I started going to college to be an architect. So I put in about a year or so, and then once my professor, him and I had a talk. He goes, "Hey, you know how everything goes together. You need to be a structural engineer." So I changed my major to try to become a structural engineer. But I tried it. It just too much. It was we were learning the CAD systems back then. It was AutoCAD. It was a lot for me. Plus working full time. Plus I was living at the beach at the time, and and I was very young, so I think I had more fun at the beach.
Sure.
So I ended up dropping out of it after about 2 years. And sometimes I wonder if I would have kept on that path, but then I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Right. Right.
These guys wouldn't be where they're at today. So
Very
I just feel like I've brought a lot of people forward with me. I mean, I've run into guys that are head of their departments or head of their construction companies that all started working for me.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I mean, I can name several of them that are full-on running companies right now that were working for me back in the day.
So, got a couple more questions for you, and of course, a very important question that we'll end with. What advice would you give to other fathers, sons, or family members that are either going into business or thinking about going into business, whether it's this industry or something else? Because you guys have figured it out. And as you mentioned, part of the success that you guys have had has to be the family ties and how you guys just work together and make sure that that's always going to keep going. What advice would you give to anybody listening to this or watching this right now that's either in the same position that you guys are in now or when you started, or maybe thinking about, we want to go do business together? What's a piece of advice you could leave with somebody?
Well, respect each other.
Yeah.
Respect each other, decisions, their thoughts, and same with the family. I mean, respect each other with your families, but it's all about respect. We work just fine together. I respect his opinion. He respects my opinion. I'm old school. He's new school, which when we met, that works well for us. Because I look for him, for all the new stuff, and he's, "Dad, you're old school. You're relax. But I'm going 100 miles an hour, and he's trying to slow me down. Just slow down, Dad. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Even driving wise, he tells me that all the time. Slow down, Dad.
Time to hurry. We'll get there.
Yeah.
It just makes me, like you said originally, like we started out more best friends when I was growing up. It's like his friends were my friends were his friends, and we were kind of like in the same group. It wasn't like a father-son relationship. It was more of like, hey, that's my best friend.
Yeah.
So then when you go to work with your best friend, then you're kind of like, all right, it just doesn't feel like a father-son relationship really. Wow. Until we're outside of work. It's like, oh yeah, forgot we actually are related.
Yeah, sometimes we forget we're related, actually. And honestly, because we're his friends and my friends, we've always hugged each other.
Yeah.
I mean, when we say goodbye or we see each other, we hug each other. And we've always done that throughout our full life, and we still do that to this day. So I don't know how to explain it, but we've gotten along real well. Like you said, best friends.
Oh, I love it.
And that stuff.
So what you talked about, maybe old school and new school. What's next? What do you guys see on the horizon for you two?
Me retiring. But whenever these guys tell me I can quit, but right now they're telling me you can't quit.
Yeah. Right now everything's going so well. We can't let them go yet.
Yeah.
But on the horizon, I mean, there's a lot going on in the industry and a lot of changing, a lot of technology. Things are things are constantly changing, especially in Southern California.
Yeah.
We're different than the rest of the nation, the way we frame, the way we do things. So we've kind of adopted a lot of the technology lately. We don't see, things are not going to go the same.
Right.
They've been in years past. Things are moving on to bigger and better things, wall panels, right? For instance, so everybody always talks about it. So the innovation is really there in this industry right now.
No, I would agree. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen over the next 10 years in this industry.
Oh, definitely.
I always think the construction industry is about 15 years behind the rest of society in terms of adapting and adopting technology. And if you look at what happened about 20 years ago when the internet really became, a part of everyone's life every single day, the technology just spiked everywhere. And I think we're kind of in that phase right now with construction where you're starting to see technology, AI, all of this advancement happening at a very rapid pace. So it's going to be fun to watch and see.
But it's not serious.
It's not quite there.
Not
yet.
there yet.
I agree.
I started with that right now. It's like,
I don't know if it ever will be there fully.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Well, I don't think you can get rid of the human element.
you can't.
No, I mean that has to be there,
Yeah.
right? And that's
and I agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Last question. I'm gonna see if I can get a disagreement out of you two. It's my challenge. Although you guys were lockstep and barrel with this question too. You came in here before and said we don't have an answer for you, and you guys both agreed on that. I'm like, well, there goes that. But we are in Southern California. We are in the entertainment capital of the world. We're recording this here at the in the OC, Orange County. So we're not too far from Hollywood. What movie best describes your life?
I knew he was going to do that.
Yep. What some movies are there? I can't think of any.
I would say Tommy Boy, but Jeff Moran, who we interviewed, he already said that's his life. So I think we have to take that one off the table.
Let's hope not. I think you have a heart attack.
All right, what about this? If we can't come up with a movie, what actor would you want to play you in a movie? If they came to you tomorrow and said, we're making a movie about your guys' life, and you get to pick who's going to play you in the movie, who do you want playing you?
Man, who's the best looking?
Me would be Charlie Sheen.
You got Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, like you said, 2.5 Men. I was single for a long time raising him, and he was pretty much my character to a T.
Okay.
Yeah, to a T.
That would probably describe our life in the more personal life. No, work life.
There you go. Yeah. So what about you, Travis? Anybody come to mind? We can go Emilio Estevez and just make it another family affair here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm not sure who comes to mind, I'm not sure.
I don't even know.
All right. Well, the 2.5 Men of the construction industry, Rob and Travis Kerrick, thank you so much for being here on Strong Conversations. And thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned for more episodes coming soon.